one, you got some people that knew what they wanted to do when they were kids, and they
Yeah.
did that, and they continue to do that after the military. Then you got people like me who never really like always going to be a fireman. That was not
Yeah.
me. I didn't have any kind of specific thing I wanted to do. So you come out of the military with all this training, education, experience, and you're like, I could literally do thousands of jobs right now. So now I got to
Yeah.
figure out what I want
Yeah.
to do, and it can be confusing. But the story part is so powerful, and that's
Right.
actually the other thing we're working on right now is launching a nonprofit arm of the podcast where we're going to enable every veteran and military spouse to come on and tell their transition story, so that we can capture all those stories and create this sortable database by every imaginable
I love it.
demographic and psychographic, so that people can actually listen to the types of stories they want to listen to and hear how other people dealt with some of the same things they're going through.
Welcome to the 7 Eagle Group podcast, your home for inspiring stories, valuable tips, and great advice from hard-charging veterans so you can lead a more rewarding and lucrative post-military career.
We love to highlight top resources for the military veteran community. And for the last couple of years, there's been a podcast that I've just admired so much called Vet S.O.S. And today, just honored to be able to have a chance to talk with its founder, Shawn Welch, a retired U.S. Army E-8 Master Sergeant, who's been putting out this incredible show that just provides such valuable information on the transition process for service members or mil spouses. He's got a lot of really great and exciting things coming up in the future. We're going to talk a little bit about Shawn's background, talk about the show, and then what he's got coming up on the horizon. So, Shawn, thank you so much for taking some time this morning.
Oh, absolutely, Joy. This is fantastic. I love what you guys are doing, and anytime I get the opportunity to collaborate with people doing wonderful things for our community, I'm all about it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we appreciate that. So, let's just tell everyone a little bit about your background. 20 years in the Army. What was that experience like for you, and how did that help you with your career?
Well, we'll call it a love-hate relationship. So there were some goods and some bad. All in all, though, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It helped mold me into who I am. Made some wonderful lifelong friends through the various tours and things that we had to do. But I was an intelligence analyst, so working in intelligence field as an intelligence professional, just trying to mold
Yeah.
essentially what the product is, what we're trying to help the warfighter with, so actually going in there and working with the soldiers to put together products that'll help the warfighter on the ground. Just such meaningful work, and it really was a pleasure to be able to serve.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you for what you did for our country. I truly appreciate that. And then, so what drew you to this sort of path of, hey, I'm gonna start a podcast and help other guys? What was that process like for you?
That's the $1 million question. It always gets people laughing. So I never wanted to do podcast. It wasn't even on my radar. I had a mentor. I went to a civilian based program, the Who You Know show. They have a career summit where they basically teach people about how to improve their chances with the ATS, and going and applying for jobs and ways to stick out and things like that. And I
Yeah.
had a buddy who was about 6 months ahead of me in the transition process, so I just jumped on his coattails to start with. Whatever he's doing, I'm going to do, and we'll figure this out as we go. And so he had signed up for that, so I did, and really connected with those guys. Had nothing to do with the military. It was one of those
Hmm.
things that was completely civilian based, and what I loved about it is it changed my point of view immediately, as far as the transition goes. So I continued to work with these guys and talk with them, and Trevor, with their founder, started pushing me. He's like, "Hey, you need to do a podcast." No, I don't. Yeah. But he really wanted me to do one because I was doing a lot of LinkedIn videos at the time.
Yeah.
And so he kept pushing and pushing. Hey, man, you really got to do this. You'll do great with it. And so we started thinking about it, started talking about it, and coming up with ideas. And then we came up with the idea for this transition focused one, to highlight the organizations that are helping veteran service members and spouses with the transition process. So he loved it. his partner and co-host happened to be an Air Force veteran. So
Hmm.
he came on board, Mark Elder. He was the co-founder and my original co-host for the first year. Still part of the Vet S.O.S family, and serves on our advisory board right now, and steps in whenever we need to call in the backup pitcher to take the mound
Out of
again.
the bullpen.
Oh yeah, go to the
Big
bullpen.
righty.
So, but no, he helped me get going. Mentored me in the whole podcast process, and from there, Eric Brew joined the team, and he was with us for the last year, and just brought so much energy to the show and some great ideas to help us take it to that next level. And then as he's standing up his ministry, he decided he was going to step down because the ministry's taking up a ton of time as he really launches this amazing thing here.
Yeah.
So he is as well staying on the advisory board and helping us grow. And he's in that bullpen too, warming up anytime we need him. And so Keith Cassant will be joining us now for season 4, which starts here in July. So very excited about that, and just continue to keep meeting great people and talking to great organizations about what they're doing to help our community.
Yeah, that's great. I haven't met Keith yet. I'm friendly with Eric Brew, man. What a stand-up guy. So you got an all-star on the team there. So I'm glad to hear that he's going to be coming back and helping you and do more shows and stuff. So talk a little bit about, I know you're coming on your 2nd-year anniversary, which is amazing. You're doing one show a week. You have plans to increase that and do 3, which is super exciting. The more info we can get to our transitioning service members, the better. So, talk a little bit about some of the topics that you guys discuss on the show.
Okay. Yeah, so we just released episode 100 on our 2-year anniversary. Alfredo Torres, who's a staple in this community, was the guest to help us celebrate that. And we were very proud of that milestone. And as we move forward into season 4 and 5, we're looking for ways that we can grow a little bit. So typically our format is to talk to anybody who works in the transition space in one way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
And what we do is, if they were military, we ask their transition story first. Come on and tell us your story so people, can hear another transition story and what you went through. If they're not military, then we ask them to just explain, their pathway and how they got to working in the transition space, which is also always just a fascinating story.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's tied to family being in the military and, ties like that, which is just, amazing to see that continued service. And then we talk about the organizations and what they're doing to help the community. And so as we move forward, we're looking to expand a little bit and focus a little bit on the educational resources, those veteran programs out at the various colleges and universities that are helping veteran students. So we can help, educate the populace a little bit on the different programs that are out there and how different universities do different things. And of course, veteran-owned businesses. We're looking
Yeah.
to start talking to some of those entrepreneurs that decide to start their own thing, and talk about that entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. The more discussions people can have about all these topics, which are, I imagine, I didn't serve myself, but I imagine it's an extremely stressful and confusing time when you are leaving the service, and to be able to hear and listen to stories of people who have come before you and hear about their struggles and how they overcame them, and the inspiring stories of people who are just, going down the path that excites them and they're doing well. But what a great service, what a great thing that you guys are doing to just share all this valuable content,
Oh, we appreciate it, and you're right.
Yeah,
You're 100% right. Is one, you got some people that knew what they wanted to do when they were kids, and they
yeah,
did that, and they continue to do that after the military. Then you got people like me who never really like, I'm always going to be a fireman. That was not
yeah,
me. I didn't have any kind of, specific thing I wanted to do. So you come out of the military with all this training, education, experience, and you're like, I could literally do thousands of jobs right now. So now I got to
yeah,
figure out what I want to
yeah,
do. And it can be confusing. But the story part is so powerful. And that's
right.
actually the other thing we're working on right now, is launching a nonprofit arm of the podcast where we're going to enable every veteran and military spouse to come on and tell their transition story, so that we can capture all those stories and create this sortable database by every imaginable
I love it.
demographic and psychographic, so that people can actually listen to the types of stories they want to listen to and hear how other people dealt with some of the same things they're going through.
Yeah. It just it I would imagine it'd be so comforting to say, oh, this guy is sort of just like me. He had a similar path. Let me hear about his journey and how he did. Is there a story over the last couple of years that sort of stands out in your mind of like, you had a guest on or something that just really impacted you and felt like it sort of was, you know, it sort of talks about who you guys are at SOS.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some amazing stories, and
Mm,
you were exactly right in what you just said. That too often we hear people say, "I thought I was the only one going through it." So through the
yeah.
sharing of these stories, they get to see that, hey, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this. And um, uh, there's two stories that really stick out in my mind, and one was Eric Brew, my co-host,
Hmm.
who had those suicidal ideations during his transition, was completely lost, had no idea what he was going to do, and was just overwhelmed with everything. And Eric,
Yeah.
Eric's Eric's powerful. I mean, he's got so much energy and so much passion in what he does. It's hard to even imagine him going through that.
Yeah.
But someone like that struggled with that, and so it kind of opens your eyes and you're like, whoa.
Hmm.
um and the other one was Kristen Christie, who um was a co-founder of 988, um the suicide hotline. And she tells her story about how her husband committed suicide, and how
Uh,
each of her kids had tried, and just her amount of resiliency,
yeah.
and how she continues to pour back into our community to try to help others. It was just it was one of those moments on the show where we were literally speechless. It's like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
so hearing that, and the fact that she still cares so much, and wants to help so many people, just an amazing story. And we keep hearing them. We keep hearing these amazing stories, and it truly is life changing. And I've been blessed. It wasn't something I ever wanted to do, but man, I
Yeah.
wouldn't change this for the world. I have absolutely loved all 2 years of this.
Ah, it's amazing. I mean, I love to hear stuff like that. And listen, I know how much work and effort and time and money goes into what you guys are trying to do. It's not easy. It looks easy to an outsider, but you're basically, building a business here and trying to provide value and all the organization and scheduling. And I know it's hard work, but man, you reach one person per show, man. You guys are doing some incredible work for everybody who desperately needs this service that you guys are providing. So, man, hats off to you guys and thank you so much for what you do. Can you tell everyone a little bit about where they can find the podcast and listen to it and how people can support Vets SOS?
So absolutely. VetSOSpodcast.com. We got a website out there. Through the website, you can get to the YouTube channel or any of the major podcast platforms. We're working on some capabilities on the website right now where you can actually sort by topic. So hopefully that'll be ready here in shortly,
Nice.
so that you can actually sort through the various videos to find the topics you want to listen to if there's a specific type of field or organization you want to hear about. And also on the website, you can see all the people that all the organizations we've interviewed, and there's a direct link to that organization as well as the podcast that supports that organization. Um, and then right now we're working on building an online store with some Vet SOS swag that you can purchase to
Sweet.
help support the podcast. And as we move forward, there'll be some other opportunities that we look for potential support as we continue to grow, and we're always looking for sponsors. So if anybody's interested in sponsoring, they can definitely reach out to me at Shawn at whoyouknow.show.
Nice. And we'll
Easiest way to
promote
get a
all
hold of me.
that when we post this. And then anytime you guys have a show, please tag Seven Eagle. We'll be more than happy to push it to our
Absolutely.
our networks as well. And yeah, please everyone check out this podcast. It's really one of our community's best. It's vetsos.com and give it a listen. I really feel you'll enjoy it. And like he mentioned, if you are involved with your company might be interested in supporting an amazing cause, please reach out to Shawn so he can um, help continue to do what he's been doing for this. It's an incredible service. So, Shawn, thank you so much, man. Keep cranking. You're an amazing guy, and I appreciate what you, Eric, and Keith are doing for our transitioning service members and mill spouses and vets. So, thank you.
Absolutely, Jordy, and thank you. This has been amazing, and it's. I would love to call it work, but I'm just having too much fun to say it's work. I mean, we
Yep,
just have a blast on the podcast, so
that's awesome.
please check it out.
You got it, buddy. Take care.